Let's bring some function into our core. And so we're not just talking about six-pack abs right here. Today, we're going to be utilizing our entire core space, this kind of full cylindrical muscle that does everything for us, right? Keeps us upright, holds our balance, helps us breathe deeper and breathe better. So to begin today, let's begin in tabletop. So meet me on your mat, hands under shoulders, and then knees under hips. Now we're going to be here for a little bit of time, so if you prefer to come to your fist for a little bit more support rather than palms down, feel free. In this first moment, our core is already activated, right? We're kind of holding ourselves up, using our hands and knees as support. And then start to just notice the position of your head. If you start to feel like your head's going to drop down at any point, think about sending the back of your head up into the sky. And so it's not at the top of our head. We don't want to jet our head forward. We just want this strong, long spine from chin down to tailbone. Maybe gaze at the top of your mat. Take a really full breath and just notice how it feels. Do it again. Fullest breath of your day. And then bring awareness back through your nose. So just inhale and exhale through your nose. And then start to notice where you're getting tired. If that's your arms, if that's your legs, if that's your core space. And so this is usually an indication of where in your core is weakest. So if your legs are feeling weak, maybe it's lower back, maybe it's down through pelvic floor. If it's your upper body, your arms, maybe it's upper core. Maybe we're holding ourselves in extension more. Maybe we kind of find ourselves like a cow pose right now. Start to draw it and hug your ribs up into your spine, almost like a cat rounding. So start to round your shoulders out. Feel this press up into your upper body. So this kind of tall part of your ribs, squeezing in. Take a big exhale out, empty all the way. Inhale, just drop it neutral spine. Inhale, not a big movement here at all. Exhale, it's the tiniest bit of rounding into your upper body and shoulders. Inhale, neutral spine. Little round it out. Good. Can we keep this motion? Maybe knees have to come a little bit closer together to take your right foot back behind you. And so here we don't want our hip to be up. We don't want it to be sinking way down. We want our toes to be facing towards the earth and our foot is flexed. Inhale, we're in this really strong neutral spine. Exhale, we just take that tiniest little round out of your shoulders. Inhale, neutral spine. Little hug in. Do that 2 more times. Last one. Good. All right, then bring your right leg down. Press your left foot back behind you. And same thing, we want our toes to be pointing down. We're not opening our hip. We're not closing our hip. It's just neutral pelvis. Feel your breath. Inhale, same neutral spine. And then as you exhale, it's that little press away into the mat. Give it 2 more breaths. Perfect. All right, we're done with this on hands for a moment. Meet me on the belly. Slow arrival to come down. And then let your forearms press down into the mat. Now, if Sphinx pose is not available for you right now for any reason, we're going to go ahead and meet in a forearm plank. So this is just kind of a halfway meeting point for a breath or 2. But when you are ready, I'm going to keep knees down for this. Tuck toes. And then drive your knees into the mat. So notice right here to start with, look at how my belly is down, hips are up. If you find yourself like this, you're like, oh, this feels strong. I don't feel my core working at all. We want to do the opposite. We're going to want to hug our tailbone forward, almost shifting the weight over your hands. So this is bracing our core space, not just our 6-pack abs, right? This is doing everything. This is backside body. This is legs. This is arms. Take a break as needed. So if you find that you start to kind of mellow down or your belly is dropping down, hug up and in. Breath is still a really strong point here. Breathing as deeply as you can through your nose. We're going to be here for a count of 5. Going 4, 3, 2. Give this one more breath together. And then start to sink this back into child's pose. And give this 3 more rounds of breath, a little break, a little pause. And when you get to your next breath in, it's back to tabletop. Hands are under shoulders, knees and feet are close together. Right leg kicks back. So we still want that same long line from chin to heel. So our foot's not dropping down, our hip isn't open. And this time we're going to let our left arm come out in front. And so we should ideally be in the same plane of our hand and foot. We don't want our hand to be way up tall or our foot to be way up tall. We have this straight line. And it can be hard if you don't have a mirror to look at. But just try to really feel into your body where your hand is in space, where your foot is in space. And then let the midpoint of your belly, your ribs, hug up and into your spine. So we don't want to have a cow pose here. We don't want an arched spine. We want to be locked in, really strong, holding, but using your breath. Maybe gaze down at your thumb, right thumb. 2 breaths. That's it. Perfect. All right, bring it down slowly. And let your left foot go back. Feel this out. Right arm reaches forward again, feeling in the same plane of hand and foot. Utilizing your breath, hugging up into your spine. It's like we're lifting away from the ground, so we're working away from gravity. Maybe gaze down at your left thumb this time. Feel your breath. Feel the wobbles. 2 more rounds. Awesome job. All right, forearms to the mat. Forearm plank. Knees could be up or down. And I just want you to do what makes you feel the most strong here. Holding, breathing, here for 5. Going 4, 3, 2, 1 more breath. Child's pose to meet again. Take this really long arm reach. For me, knees together works best here for a little lower back support. So like I'm kind of rounding over thighs, but your knees can separate for this child's pose. And 1 more solid round of breath. To back up on hands and knees, tabletop. Again, you can come to fist as you need to support your wrists. We're going to go right hand down, right knee down. Take your right foot off to the edge of your mat. So for me, it's on the concrete beside me to the right side. Yours might be the carpet or the ground. And then we're going to shift our weight. So all the weight's going in your right leg and your right hand as your left foot starts on the ground. So full extension out beside you. Left arm, let it reach to the sky. And so to start, it might feel very good to let your ribs flare for a second. That's okay. We want to end up hugging it back in. So like your ribs and your hip bone are going to be glued, suctioned together rather than making space. Okay? Take a breath. And then start to lift your left leg. So this is a knee down half moon or a knee down plank. Left arm, I want you to explore, where does this feel strongest? Is it overhead? Is it up? Is it down? Is it kind of hovering towards the ground for balance support? And then your leg, again, is a straight line to reach. So we don't want to hug down. We don't want to be way up to the sky. Core is locked in. So from chin down to heel, the longest line that you can create. Stay here for 5. Breathe for 4, 3, 2, one more breath. And then plant it down. Slowly switch sides. So left knee comes down, left foot comes out. We're going to open to the other side. So you can start with your right foot down. Make space. Find your balance. And we got this long line from chin down through your heel. Right arm of choosing. Here for 5. Breathing 4, 3, 2. Give it one more breath. And then lower down, release. Perfect. We're going to meet reverse tabletop. So start sitting back, feet out in front of you. So this is going to be very different for everybody, depending on how your shoulders move, how your hips move. And so to start, just let your feet plant in a comfortable space. For me, there's about a foot of distance between hip and heel. Yours might be closer in. And then hands of choice, so depending on your wrist. If you can't flip your hands all the way back, they don't have to. They might flip out beside you. They might flip forward. You might go to fist. And then start to feel your heels driving down into the mat, but your feet are fully planted. So what the weight is mainly going down through your heels. We're going to press our shoulder blades back together. But we don't want to arch our spine. We want spine to be locked in. So start to hug your ribs back into your spine. You should feel your core activate just right here. Take a breath. Press down through your feet. Lift your hips. Maybe that's an inch. Maybe it's all the way up reverse table. Exhale, we're going to lower down. Inhale, we're going to kick up. At your own pace. So glutes are active here, right? Core is active. As you move back and forth, your trunk should not move. This is all through a hip hinge. We want to keep our ribs locked in place, really strong for 5. Here for 4, 3, 2. This 1, we're going to hold it as far as you can. Gaze maybe at your knees. Give it 2 more breaths. Good. All the way down. Come down to your forearms on the mat. And just kind of propping yourself up, holding yourself in space. Take a moment here just to feel breath, body, still engaged through your core space. If you find that you're arching your back, draw it down, draw it in. And then lift your knees up 90 degrees. We're going to take this, squeeze knees and feet together. If you have a block, I want to place a block between thighs or knees. You could here too. And we're just going to hold this and breathe. So it doesn't have to add any movement for this to feel effective, right? Belly is still really strong. Breath is still really strong. But the more that you kick your feet forward, the more it's going to work lower. So maybe it's the side of your ribs where you feel this. Maybe it's down, lower into your pelvic floor. We've got 5 more breaths. That's it. Last hard thing we're doing. Perfect. Last breath. To plop and lay all the way down. Wonderful. Let your arms take this big stretch overhead. Interlace your fingertips. Maybe a little windshield wiper side to side. Wonderful. All right. Letting your body reset back down. So laying long, knees are bent. When I say laying long, that's really just upper body. Knees are still bent. We're going left ankle to right knee. And your choice. You could hug this in like a reclined pigeon. Or you could drop your legs over to the right side. This might feel good through the side of your obliques, side of your ribs. If you prefer half pigeon or any other version of pigeon, take it here. Give yourself 3 more breaths. And then just a slow lift up and over to the other side. So right ankle to left knee, you can stay here, hug it in, or drop to the left. And 3 more breaths. Release this, maybe knees to chest, a moment to rock. And as you choose your Savasana, of course, wherever your body is most comfortable, I'm going to encourage you to do a belly down Savasana if you can. So if you can lay down, flip yourself over, and then take crocodile approach. So hands are going to go under forehead. And so just kind of pancaking down into your mat. Everything should feel soft. If you start to feel a sense of rigidness, just be aware of where that's at. And if it's rigid because there's pain or maybe dysfunction there, you can always change it, roll over, roll to your side. Or maybe it's just a new experience that feels weird. And so our body's like, ooh, what's going on? Let's hold here and breathe. And being with kind of face down, belly down does require us to breathe into our backside bodies a lot more. So this is good. We want to feel the expansion in the back of our ribs as deeply as we can as we inhale and exhale. If your feet want to kick up to your hips, they want to take a little sway side to side, let them. We'll stay here for 5 more breaths. And then to release out of this, best way is upward facing dog. Hands by your sides. Full press up, feel the stretch in your belly. And then we can sit back onto heels or however your seated posture wants to land you today. We'll draw our hands to heart space, the breath of gratitude. Namaste.